Earthquake. The word alone brings to mind something different for all of us. For some, it's the end of the world scenarios shown in the movies. For those who've experienced an earthquake firsthand, it's that rush of adrenaline when the earth starts to shake. And while we haven't had the long-feared big one here in a long time, scientists know it's coming someday. FOX 13 meteorologist Chelsea Chandler shows us why the odds of a major earthquake in this area are increasing every single day in this Severe Weather Center 13 investigation.
There are around 150 earthquakes in the new Madrid Seismic Zone every year, the most active area east of the Rocky Mountains.
Most of those are less than magnitude 2.5 that nobody ever feels.
Dr. Mitch Withers is a research professor at the Center for Earthquake Research and Information, or CERI, here at the University of Memphis. He manages the seismic monitoring network covering most of the southeastern U.S., including New Madrid. 150 monitoring stations with high-tech computers constantly check for vibrations in the earth.
So when those vibrations get big, and earthquakes have a specific vibration signature that we can look for, we can say, oh, there's an earthquake. And learning from the more frequent, smaller ones helps us do a better job of figuring out what might happen with the larger, less frequent ones in the future.
That's the big worry, the next big one. This computer model shows the impact of a magnitude 7.7 earthquake in the New Madrid zone. You can see the ripple effect spreads for hundreds of miles. Dr. Kent Moran studies historic earthquakes at CERI.
The modeling of a magnitude, because it's logarithmic in scale, every notch you go up on that scale, it logarithmically complicates or makes your damage worse.
Earthquakes are measured using the Richter scale. It is exponential. That means a magnitude 6 is 10 times stronger than a 5. A 7 is 100 times stronger than a 5. That 7.7 in the model is similar to a series of 3 powerful earthquakes that struck the Mid-South in 1811 and 1812, a few years before Memphis was founded.
At New Madrid itself, the thrust fault there, when it ruptured, shoved the river temporarily upstream. This is where you get the accounts of the river flowing backwards. At Reelfoot Lake, it dammed the Reelfoot River, creating Reelfoot Lake.
This 15,000-acre lake did not exist before those earthquakes more than 200 years ago. The shaking changed the course of the rivers, flooding this marshland, turning it into Reelfoot Lake.
Just up the Mississippi River, the shaking leveled the New Madrid settlement. A letter from one of the survivors provides important details. Eliza Bryan wrote, "The earth was in continual agitation, visibly waving as a gentle sea."
And the thing about that activity was it was a surprise to everybody. They had put a settlement at New Madrid literally on top of the fault, not knowing it was active.
Studying those earthquakes helps scientists understand what could happen here when the next big one happens.
And we also know from digging trenches in the soil and doing some archaeological analysis that similar sequences of earthquakes have happened on average about 500 years before for at least the past 2,500 years.
We're about 200 years into the 500-year cycle without a major earthquake. But that doesn't mean we have 300 more years to go. Earthquakes are unpredictable. They can happen anytime.
Well, the probability of a repeat of 1811 and 12 is around, our best estimate is around 7 to 10%.
That's a 7 to 10% chance of getting hit by a magnitude 7 earthquake in the next 50 years. For a magnitude 6, which is a little less strong but still damaging, Withers says it's a 30 to 50% chance. Still, he says a major earthquake is not something that you should fear on a daily basis, but be prepared.
You know, if you told me that the odds of it storming this afternoon is 7 to 10%, I wouldn't take my umbrella. I'd want to know where it is, and know that it could happen and know what to do if it is going to rain.
Even though the big one may not be imminent, you should always be prepared for earthquakes or any other natural disasters. Make an emergency plan that includes how your family will get in touch in case of an emergency. Make a supply kit that includes food and water for several days for each person in your family. Protect your home by securing heavy items like your refrigerator, water heater, and any bookcases. Also, keep heavy items on lower shelves. And you'll need earthquake insurance for your home, which is separate from homeowners insurance. Meteorologist Chelsea Chandler, Fox 13 News.